English with deck. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about sarcasm and some of the usages that and contexts that we might find sarcasm in. Now, I just want to go into a little bit of differences between of sarcasm between different cultures. Okay, so let's start with a pretty commonly heard difference, and that would be British versus American sarcasm. Now, please, if anyone out there disagrees with what I'm saying, please feel free just to let me know. Send me a message, write a comment. And if it turns out I'm wrong with anything I'm saying, I am more than happy to adjust what I've said and duly will let everyone know about my mistake there. So yeah, if you have any issues with what I say, or you want to just comment on it on a positive note as well, feel free to do so. Okay, so without further ado, now from my experience, American sarcasm tends to be a bit more obvious, a bit more expressive, and also a little bit easier to spot. So it doesn't come across as so ambiguous. Remember that word, ambiguous. So difficult to understand. So a good example would be, for example, let's think. Okay, so a good example would be, yeah, because that's a great idea. One more time. Yeah, because that's a great idea. And now, the tone there, pretty obvious to be sarcastic, It's quite, So basically, you don't think that's a good idea. Yeah, because that's a great idea. You know, you probably also see a bit more of the facial expression there as well. So imagine the face sort of scrunching up a little bit. Yeah, so a little bit more obvious. So quite often, British sarcasm, as I mentioned before, is a bit flatter, calmer, and almost sincere sounding. Hence the confusion, not just between non-English speakers, but it can confuse English speakers as well a little bit. So often, I would say, if an American person was to speak sarcastically, it's a bit more easy to understand the sarcasm, from another speaker. Okay, now following on from that, I would like to talk about Australian sarcasm as well. I would say that Australian sarcasm shares many similarities with British sarcasm. However, big however, there are subtle, good word there, subtle differences. Subtle being like the little differences, not so obvious differences, subtle differences. I would say that Australian sarcasm, kind of fitting with Australian culture, tends to be a bit more playful, a bit more teasing, maybe more openly friendly, often known as like banter among friends. Okay, let's think. Okay, a good example would be, nice one, mate. Oh, nice one, mate. Oh, nice one, mate. So, did you hear how I said that? I said that in a few different tones, but all of them, I was smiling. I had a bit of a laugh. I'd say, yeah, the tone is more obvious. Let me say that again. Oh, nice one, mate. Pretty positive. Congratulatory. Ah, nice one, mate. That one's a bit more sarcastic. I tried to anyway. Get the sarcastic tone across. Oh, nice one, mate. But then I also made sure to smile a bit more. And I feel that does happen more with Australian speakers. So I would say that, and I heard from my personal experience, I'm talking here, that American and Australian sarcasm is easier to understand and deduce the meaning of than British. Because Again, now British sarcasm, I think, tends to be drier, quieter. And I came across something a while back, and it said that British sarcasm is less clearly signposted. Like a street sign saying this way, or that way, or airport, or whatever. Signpost. So British sarcasm is less clearly signposted. It's less obvious. Okay. And now